have to admit, I was terrible at spending my time when I came out of university in 2009. As I moved from my university city Trondheim to the capital of Norway, Oslo, to start my professional life, I remember setting a goal of making several €100,000 a year by the time I turned 30. This goal was more or less taken out of thin air and mostly based on a fascination for business and the financial industry. I had a romantic vision of myself standing on the top floor of a skyscraper in Manhattan in the middle of the night, completely alone, looking down at the lights of the city while sipping a single malt whiskey. I started as a management consultant in 2009, and you can imagine what my money ambitions meant for my work hours. I spent a lot of time at the office, and unfortunately my efficiency was terrible. For instance, I did a lot of multitasking. I could begin writing one email, then suddenly I realized I had to write another email, so I promptly switched, writing the second email. Finishing up the first paragraph of the second email, I realized that there was a third email I had to write as well. And since I didn't want to forget this, I had to stop writing the second email and then start writing the subject line on the third email. Finishing up the subject line of the third email, I realized an important point to include in the first email. So I had to go back to that, and I was continuously jumping back and forth, writing a ton of emails but barely finishing up any of them. My mind was in chaos. Too many things to think about and too many things to remember, and zero control. Day in and day out I stayed in the office until late evening, leaving zero time for pleasure, social activities and exercise. The weekends gave me a well-deserved break from work. Until Sunday, that is. Because every Sunday I found myself feeling a bit anxious about the approaching week, knowing that the upcoming week would not make me happy. I felt stuck. The picture that I thought I wanted for my journey was definitively wrong, and I had a very shitty coloring of the dots. Then something terrible happened that changed me forever. As the cold winds started blowing in September 2012, I started sensing a strange, uncomfortable sensation in my body. My body was trying to tell me something. First, the sensation was like a distant call, and since I was so busy with work, I totally ignored it. But the discomfort increased as the weeks went by, and eventually I could feel real pain in my left testicle.
Hello.
I went to the doctor and was referred to ultrasound. As I sat down in the ultrasound chair, I was still in denial, thinking this was nothing and would go over soon. But observing the facial expression of the ultrasound operator as he was doing the scan quickly got me back in reality. It was definitively cancer. Further tests revealed even worse news. The cancer had spread to some lymph nodes in my stomach area. I remember walking out from the ultrasound lab this sunny late September day, thinking to myself, okay, so I have cancer. What does that mean? My mind was racing. Back then I didn't know anything about cancer and survival rates. So in my mind I thought I would probably die in a few months. And if I'm dead in a few months, how will I spend my time from now on? Am I to go to work tomorrow? No, why should I? Do I really need that money if I'm dying anyway? The thought of dying made me think about my priorities in life. I felt that the only thing that made sense was to fly home to my hometown, Stavanger, and spend time with friends and family. Then travel the world for the little time I had left. It was really strange how vividly I could feel the urge to do this. I had been thinking about these things for a few hours when some Googling finally revealed to me that the cancer was easily treatable and that I should be fine in just a few months. Thank God. I was elated and most of my fear was gone, but something had changed within me. I realized how fragile life is and that I really want to spend time on something that is important to me. Today I'm grateful for the cancer experience because it gave me two things. Firstly, it gave me an important wake-up call regarding what's important to me. And secondly, since I got a 3-month sick leave, I had loads of time to act on this wake-up call and to reflect on what I want to get out of my life. Back then, even though I had time, I was clueless regarding how to approach this life question. So I just started dreaming and brainstorming on a piece of paper. This resulted in the first version of my desired life journey. As you can see, my focus had turned away from money and power to making a difference, feeling good, and following my passions. Since then, life strategy or life planning has been my hobby and my passion. A group of friends and I have spent a lot of time improving and testing new ways to work with these life questions. We are meeting up for what we call life weekends every quarter for years now. Sometimes in a small cabin in the mountains, other times in a cozy Italian fisherman's village. The topic is always life. What do I want to get out of my life? How was the last quarter? And what do I want to get out of the next quarter? We share, we discuss, we laugh, we eat, and we drink. So that's how I started asking questions about life and how to spend my time. But let's see how you will start your search.